Yo, what is up, guys? I hope you're having a great day. Surprise, surprise, we're back in the Encore garage and we're playing some 1-3, nice little Monday. And yeah, I'm gonna go back to the 1-3 streets for the time being. Mainly because I think that this is such loud music. Mainly because I just feel more comfortable in the game, and I think that as long as I can play good, not make a whole lot of mistakes, and just grind out, play good poker, grind out and be comfortable, it just makes more sense in terms of my bankroll. So we're gonna run this up, see what happens. And one little thing before we get started and head upstairs, I left the house feeling anxious for some reason. I haven't played for 2 days. I stayed in all weekend to edit the videos for you guys, and I don't know what it is, but I know that when my mood is not as like calm and steady and stable, my play kind of gets out of control sometimes. So we're gonna find a way to settle down and figure it out. So yeah, before we get in, just gonna have to find a way to not be so anxious to play. So anyways, let's get into it. Let's get in some hands. Peace. Before we get into the hands, hopefully you like the new little artwork we have here. Still got Big Poppy to my left, but we got to my right here a nice little aces kind of canvas artwork there. So a little bit better than the good old fat heads that you guys have always made fun of me about. We upgraded. Hopefully you like that. You guys don't have to look at fat heads anymore. All right, let's get into hands now. The first spot that we get involved in, we have King 10 offsuit in the small blind, and an early position player opens things up and raises to $12. The button makes the call, and here, just such a small price, I decided to make the call as well. So we're going to go 3 ways. I'm out of position to a flop. Flop comes King 8-9, 2 diamonds out there, flopping top pair on a fairly connected board. Here, just going to check to the pre-flop raiser, assuming he's going to fire a lot of the time. He checks, and the action ends up checking all the way around. The turn is the 10 of clubs, so we do improve the top 2, and the board is just super wet. I go ahead and lead out. I throw out a bet of $25. The early position player makes the call, and the button raises to $75. Here, I've played with this player a good amount, and I just don't think that top 2 pair, although I'm super strong at the top of my range, I really don't think I'm good here a lot, but still, I think I'm just way too strong to fold, so I go ahead, put in the extra $50. It's a pretty small raise anyways, and maybe we can try to improve somehow. And also, the early position player calls as well, so interesting development here. We're going 3 ways to a river. The river is the ace of clubs, so not really a card that concerns me a whole lot, but here with 2 pair, I check. Early position player checks, and the button fires again for $60. I was planning on folding to a larger bet, but here it's just way too small, and I'm just way too priced in to fold 2 pair here. So I go ahead and call. Early position player folds, and he shows the good old queen jack of diamonds, so he did get there. Also had a redraw to the queen high flush as well, so really good hand by him, and we lose the first hand of the session. Next spot, we have ace 10 offsuit in middle position. An only gun player limps. I go ahead and raise things up to $15 and folds all the way back to this on the gun player who limp jams his stack of about $80. It folds to me, or actions onto me, and I snap call because it just seemed like he was pretty weak at the bottom of his range. I'm not really loving my hand either, but I really called that because I just didn't think he was too strong and basically at the bottom of his limp range. So probably just going to be racing for $80. Not the most ideal situation, but we're here. So we go to a board, the flop, the turn, river, Jesus, couldn't say anything. And the board comes 5-7, 6, 5-9. So we have ace 10 high right now, not really feeling too confident. He rolls over ace jack offsuit, and he outkicks us with the ace high, and we have to muck our hand. So that was unfortunate. We were dominated. Ace 10, not really a hand that I would consider good to call a jam with, but in that spot, I just thought that he was weak, just a little bit stronger than I. Shortly after that hand, the big stack of the table that I joined for leaves, and we go ahead and move tables. The second table that I moved to is also pretty tight and not a whole lot of action going on, so we move once again. I preach this all the time. Table moving is super important, especially at the lower stakes when there's a lot of game selection. So at Encore, at the peak levels, there could be up to 31-3 tables going on. So if you're at an average table, it's best to move because you can find a better table for sure. And here I move moved tables twice, and we finally found the dream table. Dream table where there's a player to my left who has been drinking, it seems like, all day. The moment I sit down at my seat, it reeks of alcohol. So we're in for a good time. We're in for some action, and let's try to get involved. One of the first hands we look down at this new table, we have pocket aces in the hijack. Awesome. 4 limpers to me, and here gonna raise things up to $20. The button and small blind cold call my $20 raise, and all the limpers call as well. So we're going 7 ways to a flop on a 9-handed table. Okay, not a spot I love, but it's fine. The flop is okay for us. It's 10, 9, 3, 2 spades out there, so definitely some draws in place. And when action checks all the way to me, here it's really difficult and really interesting. Like, I want some value, obviously, with my overpair, but also I don't want to go multi-way to a turn. So we go ahead and actually fire for $200. We overbet the pot here. Action ends up actually folding all the way around. I wanted to get one person to commit with either like a pair of 10s, because I don't know. With 6 people calling a $20 raise, like, something's going on here. But we end up taking it down, and I'm totally fine with that. We take down a $140 pot with aces, and that's the table and this is the table that we're in for today. Next hand, we have pocket 10s in the small blind. There's 2 limpers to me. I raise things up to $16. I probably would like to size up a little bit bigger here after finding out that 6 whole people called my $20 raise, but here out of position, 16 is fine. We get a big blind, and the limpers make the call, so we're going multi-way to almost every pot here. The flop comes Jack 9, Jack, 2 spades out there, so not really the worst board in the world for us. I lead out pretty small for $25. I think I can get 9s to absolutely call, get value from spade draws and stuff like that. It's unlikely someone has a jack when 2 jacks are on the flop. So I bet small, $25, and we get 2 of the limpers to make the call. So going to a turn out of position, turn comes the Queen of Diamonds. Not the amazing card for us, but we do have some additional equity with the open-ended draw. So if we were behind a jack, we could still improve. So here, I think I can still bet this, but I just don't really want to value myself too much, especially multi-way. So I check, and both players check as well. So we're off to a river. The river is the 5 of diamonds, and I think I'm good here a lot of the time when both players check behind, especially when the spade draws brick out as well, but the backdoor flush did get there. So I'm just going to check once again. I could probably make a very thin value bet, but I check, action checks around. I show pocket 10s, and we take it down. One of the limpers showed ace 9 of hearts, so we probably might have gotten some very slim value with his pair of 9s, but here, we'll take it down with 10s. Next hand, we have pocket 8s in the cutoff. Here, there's 2 limpers to me. I go ahead and just limp it here instead of raising in this spot. On such an active table, pocket 8s, it's really hard to play this hand multi-way. So realistically, just thought about just putting the $3 in there, try to hit a set and get paid 3 streets, or try to flop something decent. That was kind of my mentality instead of raising pre here. So I just limp. The player to my left, the woman I said that just reeked of alcohol, she goes ahead and raises it up to $27 whole dollars. Haven't seen her raise too much here at this spot, so seems like she's at the top of her range, assuming the small blind calls. It's almost like this small blind player is playing every single hand, and doesn't matter what the pre-flop sizing is, and he's going to call with any 2, it seems like. The player to my right also makes the call. He's a pretty big stack, and it easily covers me, so I'm going to call, hope for a fun one. Let's go 4 ways to a flop somehow. The flop comes King 8, 6, 2 diamonds, so bingo, that's exactly the flop that we're looking for. Action checks to me, and here I am deciding to just go ahead and bet here. I don't want this flop to go checked multi-way, and we're going to go to a turn multi-way. So here with middle set, I'm going to donk lead here and throw out a bet of $75, just knowing that the player to my left could potentially raise, hopefully if she hit her king. Whatever it is, we're really trying to get the money in, especially against 2 pretty decent sized stacks, and knowing that I can get value when we hit our set. So the player on my left makes the call, and everyone else makes the fold. So we're going heads up to a turn, which is the 9 of diamonds. Not a card that I love, but I'm really not too scared about the flush getting there. Not really putting her on the flush draw at this point, so we're going to bet for value here with the set. I go ahead and bet $100 once again. She only has about 160 total in her stack, so I didn't really feel like putting her all in. I wanted to just milk her, get some value, and see what happens. So I bet $100. She doesn't think too long before making the call. So we're going to go to a river, which is the Queen of Diamonds. That is the most devastating card that we could ask for. Not loving this situation with 4 diamonds out there now, and I check, just have to check, trying to get the showdown. She goes ahead and jams her stack. It was about $70-ish total, a little bit over 70, and I hate this spot, but I've seen her make some ridiculous bluffs, and I mean, at this point, it doesn't make any sense, so I just have to call. If she has a diamond, just going to donate her some money. I call, and she says that she doesn't have anything and really doesn't want to show, so it looks like she doesn't have a diamond in this spot, so I go ahead and show my set, and then while she's reluctant to show or muck, she's just kind of holding her cards. Another guy at the table says, "No diamond? Oh my god, you can't say anything. Oh my god, why are you saying this?" Like, it's obvious that everyone's going to know that a diamond would win with the flush when I tabled my hand, but she doesn't necessarily know that. And I was not happy with this gentleman who asked if she had a diamond in her hand to see if she would win, because clearly she didn't really know a whole lot. And yeah, if you're not in the hand, don't say anything, because it's a pretty big pot, you're not involved, and you just really can't do that at all. So just a nice reminder, don't do that. That was really unfortunate. Luckily, she didn't end up showing, and she just mucked right away. So that we could have avoided. We thankfully avoided disaster, because I think she's the type of player that even if she did have a diamond, she wouldn't necessarily recognize it, that she would have won, since I only had a set, not a flush. Regardless, yeah, nice little reminder. If you're not in the hand, don't say anything. Just keep it to yourself unless the action's closed. Last hand we'll go over in this session, we have pocket 4s in the low jack. There's 3 limpers to the button. I limped with pocket 4s, who raises things up to $14. And us 3 limpers make the call, because that's just the kind of table that we're on. So pocket 4s, let's go set mining and see what happens. The flop comes ace, ace, 4, rainbow. So we, instead of set mining, we went and boat mined. So that's cool. Action checks to me, and here just going to check, letting the pre-flop raiser try to make a bet at this, or he most likely has an ace, so probably going to bet at this. He bets $20 the button, and the big blind calls, and action's onto me now. I actually decided to raise in this spot with my boat. It just seemed like one of those players definitely has an ace, and here on the flop, you just can't fold an ace just yet, especially when you flop trip aces, no matter what your kicker is. So I go ahead and raise things up to $75, a little bit bigger than I wanted to, but I mean, if you have an ace, you're not really folding ever in this spot just yet. So I put in the raise to 75. The button ends up jamming 175 total. The big blind gets out of the way. Wanted the big blind in there because he had a really big stack, actually, almost covering me. So we don't get any more of his money, but obviously with the flopped boat, we're going to have to make the call. He shows ace-7 offsuit, and we're just trying to fade a 7 right now. The board comes a queen and a 10. We show, and we are good. Yes, shout out to you. Unfortunately, you were on the cooler side of this hand there, but thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for being a good sport, and yeah. All right, just walking out now, back in the good old garage, and really didn't play for that long at all. Only about 3.5 hours, and we got into a bunch of spots. We punted real quick. Literally second hand was the hand that we went over, and then we punted with the ace-10, and then we stopped punting. Ran really well, flopped 2 sets, so you can never complain about that, besides complaining about the 4 diamonds out there. But real high variance day for only 3 hours, which is absolutely bananas. But yeah, something about 1-3, I'm always in for more than this should be. I don't think I can ever play a 1-3 game without adding on or buying more, or just at least more than 600 in a 1-3 game, which is absolutely crazy. This shouldn't be happening every time, so gotta look into what is wrong with me in my head to always like literally lose the first hour or 2 into the session. So anyways, final numbers, I was in the game for 700. We booked a dub, booked a positive session, out of the game for 1160. So 4 hours, or played 3.5 hours. Decent profit there, so not gonna complain. So let's just continue that run good and see how it goes. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Signing off for now. Be on the lookout for the next one. There's always gonna be a next one. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, thanks for watching. Leave a like, appreciate it, thanks.